Coming up on today's show.
If someone is really, really into their paper or their circa, notebook where you can take the pages out and rearrange them, which I used to do all the time, then let's stick with paper.
There's no motherload app that can do everything. So let's kind of go through maybe some of your more popular ones that you like.
I can upload files, I can upload screenshots. I can really communicate with someone else in real time. And I know this sounds really silly, but what I love about Slack is that I can also edit my comments.
Productivity to app or not to app? That is the question. Part 2 today on Keeping You Organized. Well, welcome back to Keeping You Organized. If you saw or listened to our last episode on productivity to app or not to app, we really started our discussion about whether or not using apps or using the old traditional ways of paper and planners really could help you in productivity. And I think the answer that we kind of got on a real high level was, it does kind of depend on your style and what works for you and what doesn't. But we're going to bring back now Deb Lee from dallisonlee.com to talk about productivity more. And Deb, last time we kind of started really what I would call like from a high view. We talked about the barriers to getting started. And you talked about, some people just have the fear of using an app or even probably the fear of using even a paper-based system because they don't have maybe the confidence that they can do. So we all talked about the time log, right? Where you track your time for, 4 or 5 days, and then you can see how you're using it. So let's transition now a little bit more about, and I really want to get into, since you work with a lot of clients, about kind of what works and what doesn't, and how you kind of approach that with a client.
So we do have to think about the client's preferences, what they like and what they don't like. And if someone is really, really into their paper or their circa, notebook where you can take the pages out and rearrange them, which I used to do all the time, then let's stick with paper. There is nothing wrong with paper. I love gadgets, I love apps, and I'm happy to test out any app that comes along my way. But that doesn't mean that you have to use an app. If it's paper, stick with paper. The goal is not to change something that is working. So in the previous episode, I said, let's look at what is really working and stick with that, and then look at where we need to, fix or adjust. So if it's working, hang on to it. Don't let it go. And if it's paper, stick with it. If you have a fear of apps because you've never tried them, then that's a little different. Maybe you might want to test one out. But if your paper is working, forget about the app. Just let it go and stick with what you have. Now, if you are an app user and you just haven't found the right one, then there can be an issue of time, because it does take some time to test. And test means really immersing it into your life, making sure it actually fits with how you think and really is going to help you be more productive. So it could be just an issue of we haven't found the right one yet. Right. And then we just have to keep trying at that point. And we do need to make sure we find the right app to fix the right issue.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no motherload app that can do everything. So let's kind of go through maybe some of your more popular ones that you like, and maybe how they relate to productivity. I know we touched on Google Calendar, which is a favorite.
Right.
Not only for doing that time log, which I think is a great thing, because we learned how to add calendar, which is a big breakthrough for me. But what are some other apps that you use or your clients use, and how they relate to specific things of productivity?
I like using, and I'm currently using with a team of people, an app called Slack.
Okay.
Slack. And it is a team-based app, so you don't really want to use that by yourself. You'll be pretty lonely. But what Slack does is that it allows you to communicate with members of a team or a group that you create or specify. And so your communication starts happening in that group, not inside email where there's that back and forth and then the reply all and all of that is happening. It's actually now taking place inside of Slack. And even though I'm on the team, I may not be a part of that subset over there. So I don't get all the emails related to that or all the communications related to that. I can upload files, I can upload screenshots. I can really communicate with someone else in real time. And I know this sounds really silly, but what I love about Slack is that I can also edit my comments. If you use Twitter and you send out a tweet, if you have a typo, that typo lives on forever,
Oh, no.
forever and ever. And if anybody who knows me, when there's a typo, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. It's just too much stress for me. So, but Slack will allow me, and the other day I was typing along with my thumbs and gibberish came out and I hit send without reading my gibberish. And I thought, oh goodness. So I just went back and edited what I wrote.
Right. So does Slack kind of come out as like a text stream? Do you do it on your phone or can you do it on your desktop? And how is it like a window or what?
You can do it on your phone. So there is a mobile app for Slack as well as a desktop version. I primarily use it on my phone. I do a lot of work from my phone. A fair amount of time is done on my laptop as well, but I'm always running around, and so the phone is always with me. So that's where I use it the most. You can get desktop notifications. So when someone is communicating with you, you'll get a ping that says, hey, take a look. Now that's also, and could be, a drawback because you might be working in your productivity time. This is the time you've allotted to doing project X. And then you get a ding that says, oh, somebody over here wants to talk to you. And for some reason, we all have this fear of missing out on that information. We really want to know what that's all about, even though we need to be right here with the priority. So that's when I say, turn off the notifications or take the phone and put it in a different room or something like that. But,
yeah. I know some chat apps have the ability to like put a out of office or away from.
Yeah.
Can you do that in Slack too?
You absolutely can. And so the people that I work with for this particular project, when I use Slack, we're in different time zones. So there was a time when, it was like 10 o'clock at night and all of these things were coming in and I'm thinking, oh no, I can't handle this. So I have now Do Not Disturb that is set up from, I think it's like 9 p.m. until 8 a.m. the next day. So I don't get any pings and dings and all of that during that time. So yes, I love that Do Not Disturb because you really shouldn't be tethered to your phone or to any app. So yes, it helps you to be more productive, but then there's a time when you need to unplug.
Right.
You need to really sort of put it away.
Now, if you do put that Do Not Disturb on, will you still get those messages when, like, all of a sudden at 8 a.m., will you get 100 messages? Or how do you know if you haven't missed something?
So the way it's set up is that you have all of these buckets of these categories or channels, as they're called, and they will get highlighted or bolded. That will let you know that if it's bolded, then there's a new message in there.
Okay.
And when you open it up, Slack will tell you, oh, you've got about 10 messages you haven't read yet. And so you can scroll up and read, or you can just read the newest one and work at it from that point. So what's nice is I'm using with a fairly small team, so we're not, constantly messaging each other. But at the same time, there are times when there are questions being asked. Someone is looking for a certain tool that they can't find, or looking for something that may be out there that they're just needing to work on for their business, and so, or for a client, and so we help each other as well. So it's a nice way to communicate and not have to search through email. I know people are still searching through emails, although they should be searching for keywords and not searching through emails. Two very different.
Yeah. So how do you search
activities
in Slack?
So there's that search bar.
Okay. Wow. Amazing, huh?
It is so simple.
Is that thing with the little looking whatever the magnifying glass and
there are times when you see I can't read here. I'm going to take a peek right now. I know with certain apps you're going to get a little bubble, and inside the bubble it's going to say search, right?
Okay.
Can you do that? So I'm going to open up my Slack right now, and I will tell you on my magnifying glass.
Now, can you put it up to the camera there? I wonder if we can even see it or not.
You can see it.
Might be kind of glary, but we'll see. Yeah.
It might be.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So
it's up there.
Cool.
It's up there. So
great.
All right. So here is my magnifying glass. I don't know.
Nice.
There it goes.
Very good.
Right there, so you can see it there.
Awesome. That's great. So, okay, so that's kind of team communication. What other apps are your go-to apps for other parts of productivity? How about for like scheduling? Well, we talked about Google Calendar, right? Is that pretty much what you use?
I like Google Calendar. I used to use Yahoo Calendar. So they're similar. If it's online, it will have features that will help you to remember things. So what I like about the online scheduling tools are that you're going to get a ping or a ding or something that says, hey, don't forget you have to meet with John and talk to him about apps. Right. So that's one of the nice things about using an online calendar. They're always drawbacks. There's the pro and the con
Right.
of doing that, of course. So if you don't have an internet connection, well, you may not have access to said calendar.
Right.
So there's that.
Right.
But there are other apps that I really like. There's one that I use every day without fail called Do, D-U-E. And I'm sure I've mentioned it before. Do is a really simple way of getting annoyed enough to do something because it's going to keep annoying you until you do it. You can set 1 minute intervals for annoyance, meaning you get a ding every minute until you say, okay, I've done it. Or you can set it to an hour. So there are a few things I have set to a minute, and it means I really, just do it. And others, you can snooze. So that's nice, but it keeps reminding you until you actually say, yes, I've done it.
Right.
Or you change the due date. So I like using Do. It does come with a cost. I think it's $4.99, and it is only for iOS users. So just the folks who have an iPhone or an iPad. But there are many others out there that can really help you with that. Like AnyDo is another one. It's a to-do list and sort of an errand list and a big picture goals list as well that will kind of remind you when things need to be done. So, and you can also collaborate with other people using AnyDo. So that's a nice feature of that.
Great. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to kind of wrap up this discussion a little bit. We'll talk about a few more apps, maybe even a productivity program that we know someone's been working on as well. So we'll tease that, and we'll be right back with Deb Lee in just a moment. Now there's a place just for you. Life can be busy, and you still have to keep it all together. That's why you like to be organized and in control. Introducing MyOrganized.life, a special place where you can get ideas and solutions to organize what's important to you, your important papers, your important decisions, your important life events. We show you the ideas and products to stay organized in your life. See what's new. Stop by and say hello. Visit us at any time at www.myorganized.life. It's just for you. MyOrganized.life by Smead. Find us at www.myorganized.life. MyOrganized.life. We are back now on Keeping You Organized, talking about productivity. To app or not to app is the question, and we've kind of talked a little bit about a variety of apps. We're kind of the first part of the program here, talking to some of the go-to apps. Deb, are there any other ones you love using that you use either on a daily or a weekly basis, or maybe your clients use?
So there are others that are related to more business type productivity and the kinds of work I'm doing more recently. So Canva, Canva is an app I love using. It's a graphics app, so it helps me to create graphic quotes and all of these great things I can share on social media. There's also PicMonkey that allows me to do the same thing. I love the names of some of these as well. So I use those. I probably use Canva, I'd say 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
I use PicMonkey maybe a little bit less. And then PhotoFlexer is another one that helps me to take out the background from an image, and I can make an image transparent really quick, really easy without having to, learn Photoshop, which is my fear. I don't want to have to learn how to use Photoshop. So those are some that I use. And of course, others in the social space like Hootsuite, can't live without Hootsuite. And I am also loving Meet Edgar.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of Edgar?
No, I haven't. Oh, Edgar. Yeah, Edgar is kind of like Hootsuite, isn't it? Or not?
It is similar. It is similar in that you can schedule content. Okay. So again, a time-saving measure. You can schedule content to go out, but Edgar recycles that content. So if you share a blog post today and you fill up your queue with all of your blog posts or whatever content you're sharing, the last one you put in is the first one that Edgar shares. And then it keeps sharing and sharing until it gets to the very first one that you entered, and it starts all over again. Oh. So it's a recycling of your content. So if you have evergreen blog posts or evergreen podcasts, you can share them over and over the space of some time. You determine what that timing is so that you're not having to go in and manually enter. That's not to say you shouldn't be online and spend some 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes engaging with other people, but you can at least schedule some content ahead of time, which is a real big time saver.
We can't tell Leanne about that one. That'll take up about half of her job, because she's supposed to be out. You see that a lot from, you look on social media and you say, how in the world is this person on social media it seems like no matter what time of day, but they're using these scheduling programs, right, to help them do that.
So, yes. And so that's all wonderful and it's great, but part of social media is being social, right? You do want to engage, and there are times when people ask you a question about that thing that you scheduled, right? And so you need to be around sometimes to be able. So I think Leanne's job is quite safe, actually.
Yeah, I do too.
She's going to be out there chatting.
And if you ask her, she says she does most of the work around here, So I'm just the figurehead. That's great. Hey, let's talk a little bit about, you have a project you kind of been working on a little bit, not ready for release yet, but how's that going to tie into productivity?
Well, it is actually a productivity program, and we talked a little bit about it already because we talked about that time log, which is a part of that program. And just so people understand that I'm really coming at this not just as quote unquote somebody as an expert or productivity guru. I'm not really any of those things. I just have a bit of knowledge about how to be more productive. But I also find myself in that space where I've been thinking about doing this productivity program for a really long time. And I've always said, you know what? When I have more time, well, that time I just grabbed the bull by the horns. I did it. I started this year. I said, I'm just going to start. I may not finish, and that's okay. I'm going to start because I've been thinking about it for so long. There's nothing else to think about. It's time to act. It's time to do something. And so I'm almost done. Good. I know it's a little bit of a tease. I'm almost done. It will be geared towards the small business owner with a small team who just finds him or herself feeling a bit harried, and some really simple, easy to do things to get back on track. And so soon. Very
good.
Soon.
Well, tell us a little bit about your business and the kinds of customers that you work with on a regular basis, how people can get a hold of you, your blog, and that kind of contact information.
So contact information, you've already mentioned my website. Thank you so much, dallisonlee.com. And if you add a /blog blog, you'll find my blog there. Yep. So you're going to find content around social media, around productivity and blogging, because they all sort of come together. I think a lot of those activities sometimes make us not productive. And so I try to help people find ways of still accomplishing those things without sucking up all their time. Right. So the kinds of people I really want to work with are those small business owners who are feeling like they're doing so many things. And they're doing a lot of things, but perhaps not the right things. Right. Sort of feeling that they're not getting those things accomplished. So blog, dallisonlee.com /blog. And of course, dallisonlee everywhere else, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, everywhere.
Right.
I'm there.
In a very appropriate amount of time, right? Because you're productive as well. And you also work with people, helping them not just with apps, but with using traditional calendars, lists, and things like that, goal setting?
I do a fair amount of goal setting. I tend to, because I'm a tech person, a lot of what I do will sort of infuse technology into the process. However, if that's not in that person's wheelhouse, and it never will be, then we don't do that. So, most of the people I work with actually are not afraid of technology, or they're willing to give it a try, and they want to. But if somebody has a process or at least part of the process that is paper-based and it is working, then we keep that. We don't let that go. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up this 2-part podcast and just with a simple question, which is, okay, I'm sitting out there, I'm thinking I want to be more productive. What's your one piece of starting advice for someone who wants to be more productive? Let's look at what's working and what's not working. What do you mean when you say I want to be more productive? What does that look like? So envision that in your brain. If you were productive, and really think about specific actions that would mean you are getting things accomplished, what would that look like from the beginning to the end of the day? Getting things in business things, work things, that's fine. But really envision what it looks like, because we now need to figure out what's not working so we can make it happen.
Great. Well, Deb, once again, a great podcast series. We'll have you back, I'm sure, again, because the app world is changing and people still want to be more productive and get things done as well. So we're both of us, we're in business for a long time.
I hope so. I mean, and on that note, if people do decide to use an app, I think they should be well aware that it can be super helpful, but also there's a developer behind the app, and sometimes they may not keep up with the app, or they might, like Google, sometimes take them away. Yeah. So if you walk into that process just knowing that there can be change, good change, and perhaps not change that you like my favorite, online calendar app was Sunrise,
right?
Which then got bought out by Microsoft. And now I don't have Sunrise anymore, which is fine. So just, open mind, open eyes. It can be really good to have a change. And sometimes it means that you might have to look for something else, but it can be super helpful to use an app.
Great. Well, Deb, we're gearing into a new year, and I'm sure we're all going to try to be more productive. And one way, folks, that you do that is come back and watch or listen to more of our podcasts, because we're going to keep these things going. So thanks, Deb.
Or listen to them in the car.
Yes, that's another way to be productive, right? Or on the treadmill. Yes.
That's right. Absolutely.
Great.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. All right, folks, there you go. Now, maybe you know whether to use an app or not. It doesn't really matter. Whatever works for you, go with what's working. Take Deb's advice and come back next time on Keeping You Organized.